I'm continuing to build my office scene here. I've loaded a Poser office set and some external furniture props, and I want to reposition the furniture slightly so I can add more objects to the scene. So to do this, I'll come into my top view. So I'll come down to the camera menu and select the top view. Now you can see the furniture there quite clearly, but the walls of the office prop are not appearing unless I hover my mouse cursor over them. That's a little bit inconvenient for repositioning. So I'll just change the document display style to outline on the palette here. And there's the model I want to move, but as you can see, parts of it are actually poking through the side of the office set. So I want to move that around just a little bit. So I'll select the office furniture if I can. There you are, it's highlighted in red, and then I can just move it across gently with the mouse. And the part of the prop that was poking through the wall is now back in again. I'll just move it down here slightly, and I'll come back into the auxiliary view. And I'll change back to textured view a moment. You can see that the little trolley in the background there is now in front of the wall in a more realistic position. Now I'm going to add a few more office props to the scene. I have some cabinets that came with the Poser office set. So I'll just drag my list up here slightly, and that's the prop I want to use, the Office Library Full prop. So I'll just double click on the preview, and then that appears in the center of the scene. Now I'm going to move that and reposition it, so to do this I'll just come into the top view again. Again, I'll change back to outline, just makes it a bit easier to see where things are going. There's the prop I've just added. Now I'll try and select it with the cursor. This can be a little bit difficult when you start to build up your scenes. Oh, there you are, I've managed to do it. Now, to reposition the prop, I could just use the translation tool here. I'll see if that will work. No, it's moving the light instead. So again, I'll reselect the prop I've just loaded, the actual body, and then I'll use the translation dials on my parameters palette to move it into position. So I'll first use the Z translation dial, and I'll move it back toward the wall, and then across somewhat. I'll actually zoom in a little bit so that you can see where it's being positioned. And there's the cabinet, and then I'll use the X translation dial to take it over to the position I want it in. So I'll just move it over to here. That's just about right. Now I need to add some more props, so I'll just drop down on my menu here to the Office Library Right prop. This is very similar to the one I've just loaded, but I'll show you the difference just in a moment. So I'll double click on that entry again. There's the new prop just there. And again, because I have so many props in the scene, I'm now having trouble selecting it just by clicking on the document window. So what I'll do this time is use the actor drop-down menu here to select the right prop. So I'll just make the flyout appear, and Office Library is selected, and then again I'll use the translation dials just to move it back into position. So initially I'll bring it into this position, then I'll do something a bit different. Still with the prop selected, making sure it's selected there, I'm going to duplicate it. So to do that I just need to come up to the Edit menu and then click on Duplicate Office Library Light 1. And that's now cloned the prop. Now you can't see that because it's still in the position of the other prop, but you can see there that the entry has changed on the parameter palette. It's now describing it as Office Library Light 2. So to move that into position, I just need to come down to my X translation dial, and I'll just turn that to a plus value, and you can see that there's the new prop appearing. Now again, I'll just use the Z dials to put those back into position. I'll click on the first prop, and I'll use the Z translate dial just to move it back there, in line with the first one. And the same with the new one I've just created. I'll use the Z dial to put that back into position. It's lined up with the other one. I'll just X translate it across slightly just to match up. There you are. And all the three cabinets are now in position. Now again, I'll change back to the auxiliary camera and turn the textures back on. And there they are in position. Now I've just duplicated one prop twice and included a slightly more detailed one. I'll zoom in on the cabinets now just to show you what they're capable of. The other two cabinets are what they call light versions. They haven't got any interior detail, but the first one I selected has. So again, I'll use the actor drop-down menu here because I tried to select the doors on the third one then, and that didn't work perfectly. So I'll just drop down the menu here, and left-hand door is now selected, and you can see that actually has an open-close morph in the parameter palette here. So I'll put a minus value on that, and the door opens. I'll come up to the right-hand door then, on the props menu here, and I'll give that a plus value, and the other doors open. And that's the difference between this prop and the others. This particular prop has internal shelves included in the model. And there they are now, ready and usable in the scene. And I'll just move the auxiliary camera out, and then I'll change into the main camera. And that's showing the scene in a little bit more detail. So there you are, I've loaded some poser props now, I've repositioned my furniture prop, so now I'm ready to add some more items.